Hi, welcome on a very busy road in the heart of Bury St Edmunds. We've come today to St Mary's Church right behind us here. Apologies that my dad cannot be here today, but he is off buying a new motorbike, much to my mother's annoyance. Shall we go and take a little look at the church then?
Right, if we can get across the road without getting killed. Right, I'm not running. So this is St Mary's Church, and this has got something really special inside. Oh, and I'm going to tease you a little bit longer. So Laura is going to help me up the curb. Right, so we're just going to come in here. Now, the tower on this is offset on the north wall. So we're just going to come down here. Now, Bury St Edmunds is a cathedral town, but it is not a city. A city is a royal charter, or has a royal charter. Bury doesn't have that, but it does have a cathedral, which I'm not sure if you're going to see through the tree. But there's a tower just there. We will go over there and film that in a little while. And this is the tower. Now, if Laura looks at the notes, she might be able to tell you when the tower was built. No, it's a 14th century tower.
I'm glad you understood your notes.
I write them. And look, you've got a gargoyle there. So, and then you've just got this absolutely wonderful entrance, which takes up most of the front of the church. Sorry, did I just bump into you?
Just try to walk the opposite.
Sorry. That is absolutely massive. So the main body of the church, not this bit here, was actually built between 1425 and 1446, and they do think that most of it was done pretty early on, and it was just the finishing touches, I suppose. It was sort of 1446. The architect was likely to be William Layer, and what he done is he managed to get this church right in line with the street. And if you walk right around the corner, you'll see that it is straight line all the way around until you get round the back and the other side where the graveyard is. So we're just kind of walking here, and you've got some absolutely wonderful head stops. So we are going to go in. There are people in here. I will try not to film. So, and you've got this lovely porchway. And Laura's just put the notes away. So we're going to go round here and look at the glass. That is amazing. It's not medieval though. Oh, we've got the church bells again. Oh, gives me goosebumps. So you've got lots of memorials. There we go, we've got one there with a figure's head in it, which is for Anna Warren, Martini. I think she might have been a Martini girl. Sarah Warren, daughter of Richard Webb. They're just amazing, aren't they? Martin Warren up there, and then what?
Sorry, I spotted the heater.
And then you've got to the glory of God in memory of the undermentioned officers in Suffolk Regiment. I'm just going to hold it there. These poor fellas, they did die in battle, and I think it's always worth just reading their names, just to keep them alive a little bit.
Okay.
Okay.
in the centre wall of the tower above the door can be seen a hagioscope or small window. Before the Reformation, the sacrist
could listen to the service and ring the Sanctus bell at the moment of the consecration. After the Reformation, it may have been used by the priest who had a flat in the tower to observe anyone entering the church.
So I reckon that's the small window up there, isn't it?
Oh yeah, right out there. I'm gonna carry on round here. Oh yes, and this is a memorial to HMS Birkenhead. Now, if Laura, which did read about it, and I can't remember what it was, but it was in South Africa, I believe.
This one had South Africa.
Yeah, this one is the HMS Birkenhead. It's a ship. It sort of met its end in South Africa. So it says it was erected by the parishioners of St Mary's St Edmunds as a recognition of a gift of £2,000 which was presented to this church by Mr and Mrs George Partridge of Westgate, Bury St Edmunds, in commemoration of their golden wedding. So there we go. Right, and we've got a tavern clock up there. If Laura's not careful, she's going to be up there unscrewing it off the wall. So, we've got a plaque here that says the clock is the work of George Graham, a leading 18th century clockmaker, and can be dated with reasonable certainty to 1715. It may be the forerunner of the Act of Parliament clocks, which made later in the century. It seems probable that George Graham supplied the clock to the Purvis family at Darsham House in Suffolk, where it hung in the kitchen for 230 years. It was purchased in 1945 by the late Mr H.C. Walton, who donated it to St Mary's Church. The clock was restored in 1988 to 89 and hung in its present position in memory of the late Mrs Ada White, who loved St Mary's and spent many hours here arranging the flowers. So that's nice. So we're just gonna I'm gonna let Laura do the filming, because I can't do everything. Okay, so let's get back to the beginning. So the chancel, which is up there, was built in the 14th century. It has a sanctuary and it has got a crypt underneath it as well. And like I said, outside, the main body of the church was rebuilt in 1425 to 1446. So, and it's got perpendicular style windows. Okay, there is a clerestory above.
We've got the lovely morning sun coming through.
It's lovely, isn't it? And the amazing glass really brings it alive.
Just pan around so you can get a nice good view.
Now the great thing about this church is the paintings. And the paintings are good because you can see what it looked like through the years. You've got this one here. It's a scene where bread was given out to the poor, which is a common thing in a lot of churches in the period, that if you had poor people, the church would give out bread to them. But you can see what that looked like then. My voice is going. And then you've got another one here. And if you look, it's not too dissimilar, but it's just the other side of that. Look, you've got the same tomb there. from the door.
And another one there.
Oh, I don't know if you want to have a look at that window up there with all the coats of arms. We've got the Duke of Grafton top left. God, I can't read them all. Calthorpe, that one, George Baron Calthorpe.
Yeah. We've got
Reverend Henry Hastad. Porteous Oaks.
Robert Rushbrook.
Rushbrook.
I always forget about the T's and the S's and the F's.
It can be very difficult to read. It was hot in here today as well.
We are getting the full Indian summer here.
Because you've got like a proper diary, haven't you? Can I? Oh, right. How do you get on where?
There we go. And then we've got the memorial.
The memorial. I'm just going to have a little look round it as well. Just trying to navigate around an air conditioning unit. We've got a book with the Suffolk Regiment here.
And then this is the chapel for the Suffolk Regiment. The Royal Anglian Regiment.
So the chapel of the Suffolk Regiment and the Royal Anglian Regiment. Okay.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's quite beautiful. There's a bit. So we've got all these. Are these Tudor roses?
Well, they are Tudor roses, but they're here because you've got things like the Normandy landing, the landing
Gaza.
at Syria. So this must be points of the wars that they fought in. If Paul was here, he'd be able to tell you. So if I've got that wrong, I apologise to any military historian, but that is not my forte.
So we've got New Zealand,
Aris,
Macedonia,
Lecato.
Somme.
I would think that they are points in war that they have fought. I can't put it any better than that. There's Ypres there, Hindenburg line, Cambrai, Neuve Chapelle, India,
Gibraltar, South Africa.
yeah. So this might be places where they've fought.
We've got South Africa twice here.
Yeah, but they're different dates.
Yeah.
I would imagine this is where they've fought. And possibly lost people as well.
Sorry, kicking a chair there. We've got a little.
It's a bit dark to see, isn't it?
Yeah. But it says in commemoration of the 250th anniversary of the raising of the 12th
Yeah, 12.
foot in AD.
AD 1685, is it?
This chapel was refurnished by past and present members of the Suffolk Regiment and by the people of Suffolk, dedicated the 23rd of June 1935.
Yeah.
So So I've got a little bit off kilter there.
It's a bit dark to see, isn't it?
Also in the walls we have in memory of Charles Donovan Cave. We have a few of these lined along here of people who sadly lost their lives. And now we're walking into the next part, which is a little bit lighter in here.
It's very restful in this bit.
Mm.
You know, I know we've got people working about doing cleaning or
Flower arranging.
Flower arranging, thank you. You know, but you can hear them. It seems to be very calm in this part.
Mm-hmm.
And the old tattered banners. Amazing, isn't it?
And that's where we've just walked through. This book commemorates the fallen of the East and Royal Anglian regiments.
This is the current one.
Just going to go and follow my mum and see where she's gone. I just want to take a moment just to look at that ceiling. That is beautiful.
And this is a monument. Well, it's a tomb of Sir William Carew, who died in 1501, and his wife Margaret Nee Chedworth, who died in 1525. So he's got a lion at his feet, and as to show his knighthood. Margaret, his second wife, has two small collared dogs at her feet, apparently.
Yes, I see them. Unfortunately, I'm not very tall. I'll try and show you as much as I'm able to.
Arms along there as well.
So this is Sir William's coat of arms. My mum just said she is unfortunately losing her voice.
Yeah, I don't know what's the matter with it today. So this is Robert Drury and Lady Anne, his wife, who was near Calthorpe, and he was a lawyer and Speaker of the House of Commons and Privy Councillor to Henry VII. He was a Knight of the Body to Henry VII and Henry VIII, Lord of the Manor of Horsted. He lived at Horsted Place and had a house in College Street in Bury and Drury Place in London, which eventually gave its name to Drury Lane.
And he's also got a dog.
He was also a cousin of Henry VII.
He's also got a dog by his foot, and there's two dogs here, although these ones bless them. But weathered with time.
Yeah, but I think it's amazing that they're not more damaged considering how old they are.
Mm-hmm.
So, Laura.
Yes, ma'am.
Now you know what I love.
Mm-hmm.
I love a raw connection. Up this way. So, this is also the home to a Queen of France. Oh. So if you come up to where the altar is, into here to this lady, and she is Mary Tudor, Queen of France, and she was also the Duchess of Suffolk. Now, she married Louis of France.
He was the 12th King of France.
Yeah, Louis the 12th. How did you know? You just read it up there. That's cheating.
I know it's cheating.
So she married Louis the 12th of France, and he was quite elderly when she married him, and she was a young girl. And he died pretty soon after they were married. So they were married in 1514 to Louis the 12th King of France, and afterwards in 1517 to Charles Brandon of Suffolk. So the marriage didn't last very long, and she had to stay in France for several days or weeks to ensure that she wasn't pregnant. Henry VIII sent his best friend Charles Brandon to France to collect her. Now, she said to Henry that she would only marry the King of France on one condition, that she was allowed to choose her next husband. And he said yes. So Charles Brandon, Duke of Suffolk, went all the way to France to get her. She remembered this deal she made with her brother, and they got married before they come back to England. Henry wasn't happy, because that was his best friend and his sister, and they didn't ask his permission. So he basically cast them out of court. Cardinal Wolsey, he acted as a go-between between the crown and the sister, and he negotiated a deal. I think they had to pay £24,000 to the crown and to have a court marriage at Greenwich before they were accepted back into court. And they lived, after their marriage, after their official marriage, in a place called Westhorpe, which is about 13 miles away from here. And they had a big country manor there. And that's where they lived until she died in 1533. She was then buried in the Abbey, which was a bit next door. But about 5-6 years after that, something like, no, 1536, we had the dissolution of the monasteries, and hers was the only body from the Abbey to be moved here, and this is where she was put. Now, Queen Victoria, she paid for that window, and that, I believe that's the window, isn't it? It must be.
Mary Tudor window.
Yeah.
Yes, this is the Mary Tudor window.
Are you sure? Right.
Wait a minute. Hold this a second, let me have a look.
So, I think it is this one. And it shows 6 scenes of Mary's life. So it's up there. So, what? I'm going to get Laura to read them out, hopefully. I don't think it is that one.
No. This is just
I think it's that one. No? We're having trouble finding it. Oh, she's found it. Have you found it? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go over here and have a look. I've got to be careful because I'm now in charge of the camera and I've got to walk down steps.
be happy. We've got Henry VIII on this one.
Is that the one? Yes, that's the one. So apologies about that. We thought it would be above her tomb and it isn't. This is the Mary Tudor window. So you've got scenes here depicting her life.
You've got
I haven't really got anything about it. Just that it portrays 6 scenes of her life.
Try and get up to the top.
But you've obviously got her death there. There's her being accepted back into court. That's obviously her getting married.
This one be her first wedding, perhaps, in the top corner?
That is the wedding, isn't it?
And the procession.
I can't really see, the sun's going right through it. But it is a lovely window. And it was put there by Queen Victoria. Well, not personally, but she paid to have it done.
Did I also read somewhere that she's the grandmother of Lady Jane?
She is. Well done for remembering. You do listen.
I do listen.
She is the grandmother of Lady Jane Grey. Her daughter Frances was Lady Grey's mother. So she died just before Lady Jane Grey sort of met her end in a grisly fashion. No, it's quite tragic, really.
But there is something about this particular church which the windows are...
They're stunning, aren't they?
Yeah.
But they're not medieval, they're sort of 19th century windows. There is no medieval glass here. So.
This is the other side of Robert Drury's too?
Yes. Now there is a lady chapel, and that might be this one. Because they moved them. And I'll just find my notes on this.
Just take a moment whilst Mum's looking at the notes to have a look at the other windows. The colours are just so vibrant of them. Near this spot are deposited the remains of James Oakes, who died January the 31st, I think. I'm not very good at Roman numerals. Also those of Elizabeth, his wife. And then if you take a little peek through there, another bit of gorgeous ceiling.
So glad your dad isn't here.
Yes, he would get very tempted by the musical instruments.
He'd bang the drums, wouldn't he? You had to do that, didn't you? Sorry, Dad would be proud of you. So I'm going to go down here. I could talk to you about a lady chapel and a chantry chapel, but I really don't know which one is which. I was hoping I'd be a good clue, but there isn't.
Will it not be that? Hang on. Sorry. The glass of the Reverend George
Esty. Yeah. Yeah, so we've got that there. And then we've got the choir stalls and the chancel. That's a 19th century rood screen.
You love a rood screen.
I do love a rood screen.
We shall go and have a look. We shall go through and have a little.
It's a 1913 memorial, apparently.
1913 memorial. So we'll just have a proper look at the. There we go. That's the rood screen right there. as long as I'm pointing at the right bit and my mum's not going to collar me.
You want to look above?
Yes. There we are. Another beautiful window. Mum's found something very interesting here.
It's a hand.
Oh, that's handy. The angel figure from which this hand with spoon has become detached can be seen by looking upwards from where you are now standing. It is the figure over the nearest pillar of the incense bearer. There. Oh. You can see. There we go. So I reckon it's fallen from that one just up there. Now I believe my mum wants to talk about this tomb here.
I don't know who it's for, but it's a cadaveric tomb. And it's just one of those churchyard things that serve as a reminder that, you know, it doesn't matter where you start in life, how you end up in life, you all go back to the being the same. It also has 10 arcades. So an arcade is an arch. So there's 10 of them, and they're very strange columns. They're very thin. You know, when you think this is one of the most, this is one of the biggest churches, parish churches in the country. Not the biggest, but one of them. And it's got that whole expanse of roof up. And just look how delicate those columns are. It's amazing. And you think this was built in the 1400s, that they could do this. It's just a modern marvel of technology. No, it isn't even that, is it? It's ancient.
Of architecture.
It is. And what I love about these places is they were here long before you and I existed. Hundreds of years. And hopefully they'll go on for hundreds of years long after we've stopped existing. It is. And then another thing that gets me is probably if you picked apart this church, you would find DNA of the people that built it. And you'll never know what their names are. But they risked their life and limb to build these places. And I just think it's incredible. I really do. There's the church doors again. We've been here an hour. It's an amazing place. So I think that's about everything. Do you want to just go up to the end windows and film them?
Yes, yes, I would like that very much. We'll just do a little pan round because we focused a lot on that side and also at the back, but there are some truly beautiful things to see. Oh, we've got the old font here. Which we'll just have a little pan round off. And we're just going to go and have a little look at the windows. And then one. So yeah, this is St Mary's Church. Thank you very much for joining us today. See you on the next one.